So Fred, what are your thoughts or?
Well, to start off with, I just want to say, yeah, it's been frustrating, that my spouse has been really cranky lately. And so anyway,
Sorry. And wait,
just kidding.
Fred!
Oh, wait, I forgot who I was talking to. No, it sounds like actually from what all of you shared, that you all are doing pretty well. And I really like, the ideas, Chris, starting with you. I do think you have to be a little bit lenient in this time whenever, the kids are so inside so much. And, so whether that's a little more on the, PlayStation or a little bit more video, I do think you got to do that. I'm going to come back to another parenting issue in a second, but just I want to kind of comment here about with the group. Lynn, whenever you said about, you and Chris doing projects, it certainly is a good time to be able to do that. And a lot of people are doing that. In fact, actually, Andrea's going to have one of her guest speakers coming up is Pam Smith, who's a stager and interior designer that a lot of you know. And she's going to talk about some kind of, more simple, easy, affordable ways to be able to do that. But yeah, so, and something I was going to bring up, now is a good time to, kind of commit to a new goal or commit to, whether it be for after we get past this or something you can do now. I mean, even for myself, I'm going through and redoing my marketing, some stuff that I, have been wanting to do, but just been too busy to. So whether that's business-wise or work-wise, business-wise or home-wise, that it's a good time to be able to, to do that. So then let me just say a few things about how to kind of manage stress through this. And I'm going to start, oh, actually, wait a minute. I do want to say back to the parenting thing, Chris. And Marissa shared this with Andrea. For those of you who don't know, Marissa works with Chris and is a good friend of ours. And she was saying she was having a struggle with the battle between spending time with the kids and, working at home and whatnot. And I think just really the important thing for that, like, Chris, you're one still with young kids, but even maybe, I don't know if Nuette, this might apply to you, but you can share it with anyone else that could benefit from it. It's really important, I think, the time block, to be able to set aside time to say, okay, during these hours, I'm going to work. And then so like 9 to 10, I'm going to work. And then like 10:30, we're going to work on your schoolwork. 11:30, we're going to get, play in the backyard or go for a walk or get out of the house or do some fun thing with the kids so that you're having regular interaction with them. But yet at the same time, especially depending on how old your kids are, break it up in the appropriate time increments so that they can pay attention and it doesn't go too long before maybe, you need to spend a little bit of time and attention with them. So anyway, that's something that I would recommend on that subject. So what I did want to, not knowing if I'd have a lot of questions or just, to share some information, I did put some thoughts together. And one of the first things I want to start with is ourselves, because, I'm sure all of you have heard the analogy before, it's like being in an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. And so, if we're doing stuff to help our stress, to manage it and keep it at, lower, especially considering what we're going through right now. I think it's only going to not only help ourselves, but it's also going to help the people around us who we're sharing, sharing our home, our new bedroom office, our kitchen table. So the first thing, though, I want to say about that is, so much in the news is talking about social distancing. We're all practicing it. I want to tell you, I hate that term. We don't need to social distance. What we're doing is proximity distancing, where we're not next, to one another. We're keeping, 6 feet, if not more. This is still very much a time to be social. And unfortunately we live in a time whenever technology like Zoom or FaceTime, for those of you who have Apple products, and there's a multitude of of products out there to use for video, but also just picking up the phone and calling someone, and texting someone. One of the things I'm finding with my clients is that some people have a lot of time on their hands because maybe they've been furloughed or even laid off from their job. And then other people are working at home and trying to deal with kids and whatnot and don't necessarily have a lot of time. But, whenever you do find you have a little bit of time, whether you're nurturing a work relationship and so it's part of the job, or, definitely on the social personal side, it's a good opportunity to still stay connected. We are relationship beings. We want to be in relationship with other people. So don't forget that piece of it. Okay. One of the things whenever we feel stressed and we feel anxiety that happens to us physiologically is our breathing gets short. So at any time that you're feeling stressed or anxious about something, one of the very first best things you can do is take control of your breath. So very quickly, I'd like to share a couple of breathing techniques for you. And these can be done very shortly, like while you're, cooking, when you're in the bathroom getting ready, whenever, some situation happened with your significant other and just need to step out of the room, or even in that moment. Very first one is called the relaxation breath. And I want to tell you, I learned these from Dr. Andrew Weil. If any of you remember, like about 20 years ago, he was the bald guy with a big beard, and he was all over PBS for a while there. But he was the leader in integrative, and still is a leader in integrative medicine. So the first one is he calls the relaxing breath. And the relaxing breath, it has a count that goes 4, 7, 8. 4 is inhale, 7 you hold your breath, and 8 is exhale. So notice that the exhale is twice as long as the inhale. So you're taking in a lot of air, and then you're holding to count of 7, and then you're letting air out. Now, when you're exhaling, one of the things that you want to do too is put your tongue on the soft tissue right above your front teeth, so right at the gum line. And then when you're exhaling, it's even okay to like let a little sound out like this.
Can we practice it?
Yeah, let's do it all together, okay?
I'll count. Let's try it.
Okay, I'll count. Now here's the thing about it. It doesn't matter how fast, when you're doing it on your own, you go through it. The really important is just the count, the 4, 7, 8. So, okay, here we go. We're going to do it 2 times, all right? So inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Anyone feel better?
That is awesome. Thank you.
So here's the thing. When you do it, you want to do a repetition of 4. If you're feeling a little more relaxed, great. If you need to do it again, do 4 more. And if you still feel like you need to do a little bit more, give yourself just, like a couple minute break, and then do another 2 sets of 4. Okay.
So it's 4 and then 7 and 4? No.
Yeah. No, it's 4, 7, 8.
4, 7, 8. Okay. I'll type that in the chat. So
okay, that would be great. And then, at first you might have to practice too. You might run out of breath, on count of 6. Well, you just know now you just got to practice and let your breath out a little slower. Okay, so a couple other things that you can do to take control of your breath. It's just also one good thing is just to follow your breath, to start following, let it go in your nose, like really pay attention to it hitting your nostrils, maybe feeling your belly going, up and down as you breathe. As you come out, feel it coming out of your nostrils. Most likely you'll notice there's a different temperature, whether you're inhaling through your nose or you're exhaling through your nose. And that's just also kind of a good start. But then following our breath, another way that you can take control of your breath and kind of, help in stressful times. So often if like right now I said to you, take a deep breath, what would you do? You would inhale and then you'd exhale.
Mm-hmm.
But who says we have to start with the inhale? So another really good mindful way to take control of your breath is to start with the exhale. We always have extra air in our lungs. So exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. It just, like I said, you kind of have to really kind of pay attention to it because we're so used to doing it the other way. It's just a kind of a way to take a mindful approach to your breathing. The final thing I want to share with you is also what I just said. We always have more air in our lungs. So whenever we are breathing, like you're following your breath, once you kind of do that for a few repetitions, then you can try to breathe out more air. So that we're going to go back to inhaling first. So we inhale, exhale, exhale more, exhale more. And now breathe in. Notice what happened? Automatically, physiologically, you take in more oxygen whenever you do that. So those are a few different strategies to be able to take control of your breath and to be able to breathe more deeply and get your body more oxygen, your brain more oxygen whenever you're feeling stressed and anxious.
Wow,
So,
awesome.
good. I'm glad that resonated with you. So by show of hands, how many of you on your phone or wherever you get your music have a playlist that's called like being happy or feeling good? Okay, you need one.
I've shared music with you.
You need one. Mine is called Feeling Good. And what I have in there, and I recommend this to my clients all the time, is music that just makes you happy. It makes you smile, makes you want to dance, that just is uplifting. And this is a good time to be playing that. Whether it's whenever, again, you're cooking, you're cleaning, when you're playing with the kids, whenever you really need it because you're stressed out. It's a really good thing to have, and I'll tell you, it works. If you have a different musical taste than your partner, well, then you got to take turns. Maybe different rooms of the house, or you take turns. Us with young kids, I don't know, probably Chris, you can relate to this too with the age of your kids. They want to listen to completely different music. And
Baby Shark.
Yeah, when we drive
I don't
to,
give them a choice.
What?
They listen to all my music. And my daughter actually just discovered Fleetwood Mac, and that's her new favorite group. So
that's awesome.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Well, we get Veggie Tales and Baby Shark, and we can only listen to those CDs so many times in driving to Nana and Poppy's house, and so we take turns. Then it's Daddy's choice, it's Mommy's choice, Gary's choice, Rebecca's choice, and we try to break it up so it's sometimes Gary gets first choice and that type of thing. So anyway, but yeah, a happy or feeling good playlist. Some of you said this too about like kind of exercising, Chris. I love that, PE in the house. Still it's important to exercise. Exercise is a great stress reliever, not to mention because it gets your endorphins going. It just is a great stress. It's great at getting stress out, but also it's good for you physically. So whether you can get out and walk, taking the necessary precautions. We live real close to a park, so we will go to the park and just the playground equipment's all roped off, but the kids can just run around and we take a ball and that type of thing. Some cities have, like we were in Ventura not too long ago, and they had all their parks roped off. So, but if you live in a city and you have a park that's not too far away, that's a good thing too. But even if you have to do it in the house, like, here recently with the rain, just kind of remember some of the good old, even if you don't have any, equipment, just remember the good old, exercises from when we were kids, whether they be, push-ups or jumping jacks or even just stretching. Even just stretching is a good thing. Don't forget about running in place, but just kind of get some energy out and get a little bit of exercise can be a really good thing.
Speaking of that, can I jump in really quick? That
yes.
When you were one thing that's been helping me is that I have online Pilates, and it's a donation-based Pilates right now, and where it's a Zoom Pilates where we're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. usually. So anyway, that seems to have been helping me too. And I'm happy to share the link if you guys want it.
So just quickly, don't forget about being creative, especially if that's something that comes naturally to you, whether it's, you know, writing, drawing, and writing is really powerful, especially when we're having a lot of feelings of emotions and getting it out of our head. But also, like, you know, and again, with kids, you can do craft projects and that type of thing. But if, you know, there's some way to be able to kind of get, you know, kind of have a release or break, you know, so, and I'll just chalk this up, whatever you enjoy doing, don't forget about doing that in this time. The final thing I want to share with you about,
Oh, wait, before you say the final thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think Ron had his hand raised. I think he had a question before the final thing.
Okay, well, I am going to still talk about couples.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but
I wanted to mention that I discovered Holden Qigong, and it's on YouTube, and it's free, and he's got a number of exercises, but the one I most strongly recommend is building your immunity during this time of crisis, building your resilience and your immunity. He has a 20-minute Qigong practice for building physical immunity, which you do this exercise and your whole body, you can feel the energy tingling throughout your body. Holden Qigong.
And I see that in the chat room. I'll have to look that up.
yeah, thank you, Ron. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'm going to look it up too.
Okay. I know Fred had a final thing, so.
Okay. Well, also, maybe I should just go ahead and get to the couple stuff since we're...
Yeah, because it's just about time to wrap it up.
All right. So working with couples, and if, you know, you're finding some disagreements or some irritability between you and your significant other, remember to use what's called I statements. And what I statements means is that you talk about something you're concerned about, or, you know, maybe if you had an argument, how it affected you, or something your partner's doing that's upsetting you, from the standpoint of how it impacts you first, and then point out their behavior or whatever the problem is second. So what might this look like? You know, I feel angry when I get blamed for something I didn't do. That's very different than, you know, you make me so angry whenever, you know, you lie about me. You know, here's another example. You know, I feel sad when you yell. That's very different from, you know, stop yelling at me. One of the things that's magical about I statements is that it really does help to reduce defensiveness, because I can't guarantee this is going to happen all the time, but what does happen for a majority of the cases is that our spouse, you know, our significant other will be like, oh, I didn't realize it was having that effect on you. You know, and you're also talking about your feelings, or how, you know, and you're entitled to your feelings. You know, granted, your partner might completely disagree with you on the issue, but whenever you're pointing out, this is how it's impacting me, it lays the groundwork to have a more constructive conversation about it. Okay. Now, whenever you're in the listener role, one of the things that I want to really encourage you to do is, so many people, and in fact, I have a list of what I call communication myths. And so many people think that the role of listening is to respond. It's not, at least it's not the first role. The first purpose of listening is to understand. And one of the best ways to do that is practicing a skill that's called active listening. And active listening involves more than what we have time for, but I'll just give you a couple key tips of it. So first of all, you're really trying to hear where your partner's coming from. So you're listening with heart, you're listening with, you know, with purpose. You're trying not to form any responses yet, because again, you just really want to understand what's going on with him, her. And then what you want to do after that is paraphrase back what you heard. So it might look something like this. So what I'm hearing you say is that when we're both in our bedroom and we're both talking on the phone, it's very hard for you to hear, and that's frustrating, especially whenever you are in the room first. And so then your partner can reflect back, yeah, okay. And then from there, you guys can go into, okay, well, how do you solve the problem? But the thing is whenever you seek, first to understand and respond second, you're going to be in a much better place to respond fully and completely and from a place of knowledge versus whatever that first reactionary trigger that maybe came up in what your significant other said. So one way to remember this is with the acronym ARC, A-R-C. So you want to reflect back what you hear. So affirm and acknowledge is A. Reflect and repeat back. Use your own words. You can paraphrase, and then clarify and be. I'm curious. So if there's more information you maybe need, then you say, okay, but let me just ask you, did you mean all the time or only when you're on a work call? And that type of thing. Okay. Now, one of the final things that I want to share with you, if you and your partner are just on each other and you're trying to decide something, you're just disagreeing, and you maybe think your partner is like, where the hell is he or she coming from? I'm going to share with you my magic phrase. And I call it my magic phrase. What?
I need to know the magic phrase.
No, you don't, because I need to use it on you.
Do you practice what you preach?
I'm writing this down right now.
Okay, and here's the reason I call it my magic phrase, is it pretty much makes defensiveness go away. It makes it disappear. The phrase is, help me to understand. Help me to understand whatever the issue is. Help me to understand why we should be buying a new car whenever you might be getting laid off. Help me to understand why, it would be good to pull money out of our 401k. Help me to understand why we need to go stand in line at Costco at 5 in the morning to buy toilet paper when we still have a big package in the garage. So one of the two things that happens here is, as your partner starts to explain it, if it really is kind of a half brain or not a well thought out idea, that he or she will try to explain it and kind of begin to realize it again. And you can, ask this question a few times more as they explain it more. Okay, well, help me to understand how that'll work. Help me understand, where you're coming from or why that's what your thinking is on this. But what happens sometimes too? Our partner has a really good idea and we're the ones that aren't getting it. So as he or she starts to explain it more, then it's like, oh, okay, now I see where you're coming from. And maybe somewhere in the middle happens. It's like, okay, I still don't really see eye to eye, but now I know where you're coming from. Now we can really talk about what the real issue is, or maybe we're a lot closer on this than we thought, and now we just need to sort out this one or two piece. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with all of you. I'm happy to take any questions or if you need any clarification on anything that I shared. But I hope you found this information valuable.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Very good.
Yeah.
I took
Thank you.
notes.
It's my pleasure.
You took notes? That's good. I took notes too. I'm going to practice.
I took notes too.
But I think what I'll want to do is I will we're recording this, so I can send it in a replay link to you if you want to refer back to it. And then I'll also Fred, could we have that list of communication myths? Like, could we
Sure.
share it, or is that proprietary?
Well,
Could
it's
I
my
email
thinking.
it out
but
as
no,
an attachment?
it's my take on it, but I'm happy to share it.
Okay.
But I would really be honored if you would add this video of your little presentation to hashtag Quarantine Quarreling.
Well, I'll hashtag it.
Hashtag
Okay.
Quarantine Quarreling.
Okay.
My son and I are giving tips, ideas, suggestions to couples closeted in crisis.
Oh, couples closeted in crisis. That's great.
Yeah, I love it, Ron.
I love that.
who are having troubles with communication. And I thought this was just an outstanding presentation, and I'm very grateful to you for it. And I thank you, Andrea. I couldn't write as fast as Fred was talking, so I needed to write that down myself. And it's really
I thought
excellent.
it was good. Yeah, I
Really
wrote it
good,
down
Fred.
too. So I'll
Thank
send
you
you
all.
all the link for the replay in case you or want to look at it again, or have a family member or friend who could use these techniques. You can helpfully hint. And then I'll also be posting it on my YouTube, and if I could figure out how to put it onto my Instagram TV, it'll be housed there for watching in the future. So, and then I'll email out this to all of you, the list of communication myths and Fred's contact information in case you have further questions. So
Yeah,
thank
Andrea, on the communication stuff, I actually have also like the tips of what I shared. So there's actually 2 handouts I'll send you.
two handouts. Oh, you get a bonus handout. Wait, there's more.
Wait, don't order now.
Thanks for joining us.
1995.
But no invoice, please.
Yeah, no invoice. Yeah, and then yeah, so we're gonna have, this is the first in the series, and then if I'll be sending out other invitations. If you find any others that you'd like to join, we're gonna be doing gardening Sunday. We're gonna do